Okay, here's my sound preferences. I like a variety of different tunings, but really what gets my juices flowing, starting from the lower octaves, is in the bass. I like my bass punchy, tight, fast with a kick. I like a little bit of energy down there, maybe a little bit of warmth, but not too much getting into bass bleeding. It's got to have enough weight to make male vocals, make piano, cello, percussions, have the right tonality. When it comes to my mids, I do like my mids and mid clarity, but I don't like too forward a mid, so that's the upper mids I'm talking about. So keep the pinna gain down a little bit and not make it too forward a presentation. And when it comes to the highs, I do like my sparkly highs. At my age, I'm probably losing a little bit of the high frequencies. But not too much where it's sibilant and in your face. So that's what I like. An IEM review coming up right now. This one was a loaner set sent to me by my friend Kevin at the Canucks Audioholics. My first taste of Noble Audio. They make some expensive stuff. This is not too much, $289, so not that expensive. Tribrid. So this is called the Noble Audio Night. Now, since they make up to $4,000 sets, this is the cheapy, and that is their idea. It's going to have some party guests going up against it. I thought was quite interesting. And I'll pull up a graph later. I didn't think it sounded like the graph. So it's going to go up against the Let's Shure X Giz Audio Galileo. It's going to go up against the Kotori Audio Zephyr, and you know I like that one quite a lot. So this one is a 1+1. So, and the reason that's why I'm doing, I should have explained. Okay, first of all, I got ahead of myself. God damn it. Tribrid entry model, dual magnetic 10mm Sonyan BA driver. It says drivers, but there's only one. And a piezo super tweeter. Now, Noble Audio says this embodies the Noble house sound. So that piqued my interest. If this is what their house sound signature sounds like, I think you can count me a fanboy. This is a really solid feeling. This looks way more expensive than the $289. The Noble Audio logo on the side, the vent beside, you can't really see it because these anodized aluminum shells do have a little bit of weight, but they're not too heavy. The nozzles, which make these a little bit different from your typical IM, are quite long. And they're a medium-sized shell, again, so they should work for everybody. I think longer stems are better for pretty much everybody because you should be able to get it deeper in your ears, and that affects the stage a lot, and the sound signature as well. So the only thing that I notice I have to do is I have to use smaller ear tips because these things are going closer to my brain. So I'm going to talk just about that fit and finish of that shell again, and these top plates are kind of like these bluey purple. I got pictures. Super pretty. But the fit and finish, the way the resin top goes into the top of the CNC aluminum shell is so beautifully done. Again, they don't look like the price. Now, I don't have the carry bag that these things come with. It's like a little black sack. And the cable is mundane, 8-core black, okay. 4.4, nothing super spectacular. It is branded with on the splitter, which is nice. Some basic details. I don't care. Cable works. And that's my impressions of it. Back to those other four that I'm comparing against, the reason why I picked the Galileo is it also uses a Sonyan balanced armature with the dynamic driver hybrid. The Katori Audio uses a metal dome driver with a Knowles BA. A Fool at full 5.2 P7. The most loaded of all, like 2 dynamic drivers, 4 BA, and a micro planar. And then the Dita Audio Project M 1+1 again. And Knowles BA. So Sonyan in the Galileo, Knowles in the Zephyr, Unknown in the Fool, and Knowles in here, and back to the Noble, which uses a Sonyan. And part of my piqued my interest is because I've been listening to a lot of IMs. I have a Let Shure, a Mystic 8 coming up with some Sonyan BAs, and I've re-fallen in love with Sonyan BAs. Though I'm not one of these reviewers to pick apart, does it have this, does it have that, and getting all pissy with it. Some of these non-branded, in-house, custom whatevers, they sound fine. They sound good. But do they sound like the Sonyans? And that's something I'd like to answer here. So let's go into sound. And one thing I'd like to talk about, the PZT, the electric piezo. In this case, it's using the dynamic driver, and I think the Sonyan BA is full range, and the piezo is a super tweeter, it says. Now, so far, I've hated every piezo tweeter, super tweeter, whatever so far. The EM10 from Simgot, the Supermix 4, the nice HCK NX8, all sounds very unnatural, and I didn't kind of click in till later that it was the piezo that was, I think, doing that weirdness for me. So this has no weirdness for me. The sound has nice, deep, punchy bass. I wrote down more sub-focused, but in reality, there's no real transition between subs and mid-bass. It's just bass. but it goes down low when called upon, right? And I guess I was listening to some tracks with more deeper bass, and it had no issues playing it, right? Very, there's a bit of warmth in the bottom end of this set in the lower mids, that's for sure. So there's enough weight in there to make male vocals really stand out, which I really loved. And that Sonyan BA in there has that smooth, effortless quality I have missed and have grown to really appreciate and with how they reproduce music. Now, 80% of your music is coming from the mid-range. And so that Sonyan BA is doing the heavy lifting. Beautiful choice. That PZT Super Tweeter, again, I'll say this is the first application that didn't sound strange to me. In fact, it was probably a great choice in this, though. There's some new stuff coming out with round 6mm planars and microplanars that are doing a fabulous job. And one thing that I've learned in my journey so far is they're doing a fabulous job, but EST drivers are still better. But there's a reason why people are moving away from them, because they are more expensive, significantly, right? So you can, instead of making a kilobuck IM, you can get it down to under $200. So winner for us. Yes, they don't have the EST special sauce, but they also don't have that super price tag. I think the Piezo in its role in this tuning is just supplemented by the Sonyan BA. So, and all I can say is it works good and it sounds good, right? So, staging I found a bit intimate on the Noble Knight. Not hugely 3D, but because I've been listening to some, the Cadenza 12, right, $2,000, which had some of the best 3D staging I've ever heard. But there's some no slouches in its comparison down here as well. So I heard it and I was listening to it and I said the stage sounds a bit intimate. It's not hugely 3D, but it's very enjoyable and it complements, that's the takeaway, the tuning quite a lot. So no complaints. The tonality of the Noble Knight is very pleasant. A great mix of musical with enough technical chops for a fun and exciting listen. Nothing stand out, nothing out of place, nothing too elevated. Definitely has a bigger bottom end than a monitor style tuning. And I'll pull up a graph now. And you will see that, which was kind of surprised. I thought there was going to be a bit more on the sub bass. And I did call it with the Canucks. I did say that this does sound like it has a bit of rolled off in the upper treble region, which it does, and a lower pin again, which it certainly does. Everything in this IM is plus minus 8 dBs, and so sometimes that can come off as a really boring tuning, but I think in the Noble Knight there's enough something in here to really make it sound different and stand out. And we'll get into some comparisons here a bit. Actually, let's get into this shootout, this 5-way. Now, I'll just talk about the synapses and the 5-way in this shootout. And my number one pick in this overall one was Dita Audio Project M. And why I loved it is because the timbre is the most correct. Best for vocals, it sounded the most natural, instrumental, strings, air, details, it has it all. It was for me, winner, and a little bit more expensive, but we'll talk about that. The Knight was an easy, close second. Different sound signature, though. It had the luscious mids and great mid bass. I loved it for its warmer, thicker mids, and that's why, for me, it resonates quite heavily. It hits my preferences a lot. Number 3 was the A Fool P7. Very nice IM again. Going for that flatter tuning again. Best sub bass. out of that. That was its winner out of all of them. The Zephyr, you know that I loved a lot, at $150. This one has the best bass texture. The dynamic driver in here is, I love it. And it was second for tonal correctness and timbre. So number 5 was the Galileo. I bought it because of the Sonyan BA, but that, well, the woofer in here, the driver, is very soft. Not a fan of that. Best cable, best case, that's for sure. But it got spanked in sound quality, like, right. It's still bruised, actually. It's not coming off. It's got like a handprint, you know. Not that this ever happened to me. I'm just saying, right? Let's talk about Versus P7. 2 dynamic drivers, 4 balanced armatures, microplanar, loaded, $239. So $50 less money than the Noble Knight. Bass goes to the P7 for it has a better separation between the sub bass and mid bass. There's more of a scoop. Here's the graph compared to the 2. Treble details and sparkle also go to the P7. Where the Knight kills it is that Sonyan BA in the mids. It's so smooth, so natural sounding, seductive vocals. Bass is a toss-up. Again, I like the extra warmth and the weight in the lower mids. So for me, the winner would be the Noble Knight. Let's go to the next one I compared against was the Let's Shure Galileo. $109, right? So 1/3 of the price of the Noble Knight. 110mm dynamic driver, 1 Sonyan, 2300 series BA, resin shells, quite nice, quite small, it's beautiful. Sweet cable and case. Galileo female vocals sound less thick, especially in the lower mids, and the mids sound noticeably thinner, less colored, and you might want to say cleaner. Again, I actually prefer the extra note weight in the Knight. Adds a sweetness in the mids that the Galileo just kind of sounds a bit off. Knight is more detailed as well. The bass also has better bass texture, and that's that really soft sounding dynamic driver. That's if you like the sound of those soft dynamic drivers that are in like the high senior Mega 5 EST, you'd probably like this, but not for me. It's just not enough definition and the proper decay and attack in the woofer. It's too soft for me, right? Punch on the Knight is significantly better, and so the Knight just sounds more musical and correct tonality, like big time difference over the 2 to my ears and my preferences, of course. So winner, Noble Audio Knight as well. The Katori Audio Zephyr for $150. Again, well done from this little boutique company. Again, really nice resin shells, longer nozzles. Again, I love that. The funky aluminum top plate, gorgeous cable. So this one's 1 dynamic driver, 1 Knowles BA at half the price of the Noble Knight. I was kind of, and the graph, here's the graph, looks very similar. So I was a little worried. I thought it might. Let's get into it. Biggest stage on the Zephyr. Or definitely bigger than the Noble Knight. Most texture bass out of all 5 of these IMs. Vocals have a very good organic tonality, less thickness and colorization in the lower mids, so they sound cleaner. But the way vocals and instrumentals sound on the Zephyr do sound very, in my opinion, less colored, closer to realism, right? It sounds more neutral, less forward mids. between the two, the Zephyr is definitely the more natural sounding, less warm, less darker in the upper mids. But the winner for me was the Night. I just love what it does to the mid-range, and that's Sonya and BA that's doing 80% of the music, and it crushes it, right? Last up, Project M at $325. Comes with this little coffin case, which I like, which it actually fits in this one. One dynamic driver again, one Knowles balanced armature, modular cable, best case and cable, best shell shape. I think it's the best looking out of all of these with this clear resin shells. You can see the dynamic driver. It's a stellar sounding and looking IM. Well, the best treble details. Again, here's a graph. You can see that there's a crap ton more information up top, and that's what gives this one its air and details. Stage, easy winner here. Timbre and tonality, also the M. It was the cleanest and most natural sounding out of all these ones. So here now the Project M did take top crown over all 5 of these. It is the most expensive out of the 5, but that's how they sounded in comparison to each other. Really like the Noble Knight. If that is their house sound signature, really do like it quite a lot. Again, it hits all my happy places, pushes my buttons. But Project M, if I had to only pick one out of all of these, I would say the Project M would be the one that I would pay the little bit extra for. Again, nice case, really nice modular cable. The whole package was standout. So hope you enjoyed this IM review and some comparisons against. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kevin, for the loaner. He ended up buying this one from the Headphone Bar out in Vancouver. So if you're out this way, go talk to Travis. And he's a super awesome guy. He and I used to work together at a couple stereo stores many moons ago. I'm doing audio reviews. He's selling audio. So Headphone Bar in Vancouver. Go see Travis. Shameless plug. He's a good guy. Out for now.